Hey, what's up, witches? Welcome to my channel. I'm Luna, and this is Gilbert. Gilbert says hi. Gilbert thinks it's time for treats, but he's off by about an hour and a half. I am here today for an oracle unboxing, and we are looking at the Fairy Godmother oracle cards by Flavia Kate Peters, artwork by Julie DeMaya Meacham. So when I got this deck, I think sometimes you know how you look when you look in the mirror versus how you look when you see yourself in a photograph? I've always been fascinated to know why that is. But I think I have that kind of when it comes to decks, because I will see a deck online and I'll look at several cards and go, it's gorgeous and I have to have it. And then I get it and go, I didn't know it was that, you know. I kind of had that experience with this deck. But you know, I'm not saying that there's a negative. I have a negative feeling about this deck because I haven't looked at it yet. But what I realized after I bought it is how very similar the style is between this Flavia Kate Peters deck and this one. This one is the Dark Goddess, and the artist here is Kate Osborne. But we've got these, you know, these oval windows to see the artwork through. And let's just get, I guess there's no real point there, but let's go. So these are by Llewellyn. And we have the nice two-part box. This is, what? Okay, so I see the Llewellyn moon, but I can't see what that says. What does that say? Come on. Solar rub? Solar 8? I hope it says Solar 8. Looks like a B. Anyhow, 40 cards and guidebook set, artwork by Julie DeMaya Meacham. In this often topsy-turvy world of almost daily emotional highs and lows, a kind word in the ear or a golden nugget of advice and support is something we all need and often lack in our lives. So allow yourself again to sense the wisdom of your fairy godmother. Each card will speak to you of emotions, methods, and magic that connects you with the elements, mystical realms, and eternal spirit to bring about a more powerful sense of positivity, change, and growth in your life. This oracle contains 40 cards full of fairy godmother wisdom and magic, key focus words, a detailed guidebook on how to use the information, sample spreads, easy to remember and repeat invocations, a full-page reading, message with tips and advice per card. Okay. This says $23.99 in the US. I got this deck because I got a thing from Llewellyn. I think it came across my Facebook feed that they were having a big sale. So I got this and a tarot deck for $30, 15 each. Not bad. So we have the little divots to put your thumbs in. Nothing special inside the box. Here is the book. Let's see the copyright. 2017. Oh, it's older than I thought. Okay, about the author and artist. Flavia Kate Peters is a much-loved mystic and best-selling author who communes effortlessly with angels and spirits of nature. My aging eyes. We've got this kind of gray print on black. Heralded as part of the new generation of teachers of the angelic and fairy realms, Flavia trains others through her professional certification program at the College of Psychic Studies in London and across the continents. Flavia regularly graces the pages of Spirit and Destiny, FAE magazine, Fae magazine, Witchcraft and Wicca, to name a few, and is a regular presenter on the Mind Body Spirit Festival and events circuit. Her authentic and honest approach makes her a most sought after elemental energy teacher. Goodness, that was awkward. Julie DeMaya Meacham is a much beloved and respected visionary artist. Creativity and painting open up a space for her to be guided to recreate and share her vision of the other amazing worlds out there with everybody who sees her work and is touched by its magic. And we have demaya.com, flaviakatepeters.com, and spiritvisions.co.uk. All right. Again, we'll look at the book a little bit here. So we have the introduction, how to use the deck, sample spreads. Very concise. There's a 2-page introduction. How to use the deck is on 1 page, sample spreads on another page. Oh, it's 7 pages. Then we get to the card messages. And they are listed here in alphabetical order, and they don't have numbers on them. So thank you for doing that to make it easy to find them. Hi, Pyewacket. It's not time yet, buddy. So Gilbert must have told Pyewacket what time he thinks it is. All right, so we have the introduction, but we read the back of the box. I don't feel drawn to read right now. So talking about how to get yourself focused and sitting comfortably, shuffle the deck. It's important to clearly state what you wish to be enlightened about. For example, I wish to have the courage to come out of the closet. I wish to resolve an issue with a family member. I need help as to where I should be investing my energy. So I like it framed as a wish, but even better, I think, is the last one. I need help as to where I should be investing my energy. Or what I usually say is, what do I need to know about? Or just what do I need to know right now? Okay, because clearly you have the context of your life in your mind, and if you leave it open like that, what do I really need to know about now? The cards will target the issue that needs the most attention. And it might be a surprise to you too. So sample spread, single cards reading, 3 card spread, fairy star spread, which is 7. And then to the card messages. Okay, I guess it wasn't that many pages. 10, 11, 12, and then 13 is how to use that. All right, whatever. I think the page numbers here, I go getting fussy. Yeah, the page numbers are a little off because the sample spreads actually start on page 14 and they have it listed as page 11. So anyhow, let's move the box to the side. And, ooh, let's take the plastic band off. Now, before we start looking at the cards, I will kind of continue my random thought at the beginning there by saying that what I did not like about the Dark Goddess deck is that all of these goddesses, many of whom are crones, are supposed to be old women, look like young, beautiful women with old age makeup on. No real depiction of true age. So this is a different artist. Let's take a look. I like the back. So there's the star of the 7 sisters. That's the 7-pointed star. 7, of course, being a very mystical and magical number. And then we have gilded edges. The cardstock is very light. And that's good because gilded edges sometimes, you know, they will cut cards extra thick so there's a surface to put that gilding on. And we'll look to see, it looks to be pretty sturdy. But we do have very, flexible cardstock. I expect it will shuffle very easily. They're glossy, very glossy, and they slide against each other quite well. So size-wise, I can get my hand around it, and it's not too thick. I can hold the whole deck, and I should be able to riffle there, so that makes me happy. All right, so now we go to the cards where we do have a lot of space wasted on the card in order to put the image in this oval. Now, I don't usually get fussy about borders on cards. I just don't. It never was a thing that occurred to me to be fussy about because that's the way all decks were made in the beginning. So I don't generally fuss about it, but I know it matters to a lot of people that they really don't like borders to the point where they'll cut them off. These certainly could not be cut off. But the question is, could they not have been done so you get a larger image? Because the image is the thing, right? So that's my gripe. End of rant. Ramped, end of rant. Okay, so here we go. Here's abandonment. And we have the glass slipper from Cinderella, and there's like a little face, somebody's little face in there. Do I get abandonment from that picture? No. Although, if I think about it, and what's the deal with the glass slipper with Cinderella? Was she lost the slipper and she abandoned it. She had to run away so that he wouldn't find out her true identity. Here's abundance. So the art style is in a more, I guess you might say, not really cartoony, but it's not realistic by any stretch. It has that kind of speckly, diffuse, brush strokey look to it. So that it's not like hard outlines and solid colors. Very, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of feathery, you know? So again, here's abundance. Do I get abundance from that? Absolutely. Announcement. And here we see, I mean, she looks very graceful. And so I get kind of an autumnal feel with this. She's got a scroll in her hand. I don't really see wings, but that could be. So the images are dynamic. They definitely have a dynamism to them. So announcement, yes, that is illustrated. I have something to tell you. She's got a scroll to deliver. Here's aptitude. And we see games, a tournament going on. Here's a knight, and here's somebody with bow and arrows. We see elfy ears on them and big wings here. So aptitude, do you have the skill, to compete? Authenticity. And again, I kind of get the idea of Cinderella here almost. Well, she's talking about Fairy Godmother, and Fairy Godmother is a character in Cinderella. And you know what? Now I do want to go back to the book for just a tick. How often have you felt ignored, unappreciated, misunderstood, unsupported, discouraged, or unsafe? In those moments, we need someone to reassure us, to tell us that things are all right, that our feelings of loneliness and abandonment are valid. If only there was someone who truly understood and supported us with the right kind of advice, effective instruction, and wisdom, someone who has your best interests at heart, someone who thinks you're pretty awesome, your very own fairy godmother. Okay. She's talking about fairy godmother's been around since way back when. She offers empowerment, what to do when your fairy godmother shows up. So she's talking about just you and your relationship with your own fairy godmother. She's a force to be reckoned with. These badass girls can whip up a storm. Okay, so she says now she's mentioning, this is what I was looking for. Remember that before Alice visited Wonderland, she fell down a deep black hole. Her journey was one of rediscovery until she knew exactly who she was and who everyone and everything around her was in relation to her newfound life. The fairy godmother is a force to be reckoned with. She presents powers of extremity in the highest form. She presents powers of extremity in the highest form, and presides over destiny as she spins her web of fate. Often portrayed in films and fantasy as the all-powerful wise woman, she is devastatingly attractive. Really? With a little help from her magical powers, of course. Think Disney's Maleficent, Snow White's Wicked Queen, and Narnia's White Witch. Are those fairy godmothers, though? Are they really? Of course, so it talks about these badass girls. Of course, these Disney characters are taken from the crone expression of the goddess. If you're brave, want adventure, and are prepared to lose all that you hold dear in return for awakening to whom you really are, then this fairy godmother will slip you a pill that will reveal the reality of the Matrix. But be warned, for this is the true path of no return. So, okay, she is talking, I assume, and I will read more later, that it feels like talking about stepping onto the path of initiation. That once you decide that you want to wake up and find out who you truly are, line from Hotel California, you can check out anytime you want, but you can never leave. Okay, back we go to the cards. Here's authenticity. So we've got the fairy godmother, and this, looks like Snow White's gown that she created out of thin air, or that the creatures sewed for her. Here's authority, and we see a king. Awakening. Non-consensual kissing. Sleeping Beauty, obviously. Or maybe Snow White. I think Sleeping Beauty. Snow White's usually got dark hair. Here's Blossoming. Oh, is that Everglinda? And Dorothy. So we are getting very specific references to fairy tales. I appreciate that. I don't know what this one's referring to, but we'll call them out where I recognize them. Blossoming. In the field of poppies. Celebrations. So this might be, I don't know what. I don't know. Maybe that's Snow White. I don't know. Hopefully she'll tell us. Companionship. That's Alice. At the tea party, I would say. Destiny. Somebody walking into the beautiful face of the sun. Discernment. That's certainly Cinderella. Yes. So when I'm remembering now that when I looked at example cards from this deck, this was one of the ones I saw, and I was just impressed that there was a card about abandonment. Here's Divine Love. I feel like I should recognize that headdress, but I don't. I hope these aren't too bright for you. All right. Here is Dreams. So that's the spinning wheel, probably that, what was her name? Aurora pricked her finger on. And Sleeping Beauty, and here's Encouragement. Exertion. Okay, I see legs. I was going to say she looks like kind of like a mermaid, so I'm thinking, what is she doing? But I see a foot in a stirrup. That's kind of funny. Fickleness. I don't recognize them either, but we'll find out when we do the test drive what they talk about in the book. Fortuity. Actually, we'll look right now. So random opening, we have a verse. We have Fairy Godmother's message. Okay. But let me go back here and see if she mentions which fairy tale is being depicted. Celebrations, blossoming. She does not. She does not. So there are specific stories and fairy tales that are being referenced here, but she does not mention them in the book. Guilt. That looks like the evil stepmother and the stepsisters. Healing. See, I like guilt and abandonment to be in there. I don't want it all sunshine and light for an oracle. Here's identity, and it's already telling me that it's going to be a good one. Then we have insecurity. Wow. Look at that. Insecurity. Look at this castle built, and it looks like it's built on these tiny little pillars of stone. Wow, no foundation. Insecure. Kindness. Taking an apple to the old witchy woman. Here's knowledge. See an owl, and we've got books and various bottles of things, and obviously we're sitting here studying, and gosh, those glasses look an awful lot like Harry Potter's, don't they? We don't see a lightning thing, but he is an elf. Or fairy. Laughter. Oh, here comes a pie in the face. I like that. Here's listening. Holding a seashell. She has a split tail. Very interesting. Magic. Mother Nature. The stag, I think that's another one of the cards I saw, and whenever I see a stag. Here's reception. Okay, she's looking at herself in the mirror. There's like an old woman and a young woman. Rejection. There's Maleficent's headpiece. Rejuvenation. Look at the spotted boxers. In the one on Exertion, there was a guy sitting on a bike and they had spotted boxers on there too. Romance. Self-worth. Ooh. Shame. See, a deck that has both guilt and shame in it, because there's a distinct difference. And it looks like we've got the evil stepsisters again. Truthfulness. Venture. There's the pumpkin coach. Victimhood. Ooh. So is someone shut up in a room or shut out, or it's hard to tell. There's a face in the door. I'm kind of sad that she's not referencing these. Vulnerability. That was another one that I saw and I went, hell yeah. Wisdom. And we also have wisdom and knowledge. Distinct difference there too. And then we have wish. Ooh. All right. The charcoal is crackling. And let's do a little blessing of this deck. And it actually feels really nice in my hand, I have to say. It's not going to be painful to try to use and shuffle. All right. By air and fire, be purified and charged. By water and earth, be blessed and made whole. Do this as well. Might as well get the box. I always forget to get the box. All right. And then, oh, did we not lie? Did we lie? Yes, it feels hot. Okay. Guides and guardians, allies and ancestors, come on down. Thank you so much for being here every minute of every day. Please, and my fairy godmother, hi Ingrid, please step in and take over. That this deck can speak clearly, and I offer you fresh water, and we offer you the fire of Azrael, and I forgot to give it a bell. Let's give it a bell. Whoops. Hearing is the element of the spirit, so the bell further clears things and helps it align. Look at the gold. Ooh. Helps it align with the highest vibe. All right. I always hate to stop the bowl resonating, but all right. Here we go. I have high hopes. Very bendy. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, oh, yes, oh, yes. Wonderful. Very shuffleable. Let me try it the other way since they are kind of large. Not everybody's hand. You can almost do, yeah, you can. You can do it that way too. I don't like it as much. They don't bend that much that way. But let's do a couple more this way. And then let's ask, what do we need to know right now, wherever we are on our path? As the collective, of course, take whatever message comes. If it resonates for you, take it. This is just to find out how readable it is. And I can read pretty much anything, but I have had decks that have defied. Okay, what do we need to know right now? Please give me 3. What do we need to know right now? What do we need to know right now? What do I and my viewers, it shuffles quite well this way too. What message do you have for us now? Okay, they just told me to stop. We have laughter, my fave. We have kindness. And we have authenticity. Hell yes. All right, what do we need to know? Oh my goodness. We need to know that laughter is always appropriate, or it's always welcome, I think. Not always appropriate when you drill down into like small events and situations, but overall, approaching things with a sense of humor, especially yourself, being able to laugh at yourself, says that you have the recognition. You can look at yourself a little bit objectively, and you're not being precious. Sorry for the bump there. But let's go to the book instead of me. I could go on. You know me. I could go on forever just off the cuff. But let's find out how the writing is, because this is the Flavia Kate Peters part. Laughter. The verse says, with a ha-ha here and a ho-ho there, the joke's on you, it's everywhere. Being serious is no fun. See humor in the work you've done. My medicine for such a grafter? For such a grafter? Get the joke, indulge in laughter. A grafter? What does that mean? What does that mean? For such a grafter? That is, I'm sorry, that's nonsensical to me. My medicine for, maybe we could have rhymed it with after, because I don't know what that means. You've been far too serious lately, and it's beginning to take its toll. Okay, you have a busy schedule and deadlines to meet, but it doesn't have to be that way all of the time. Stress is completely self-imposed. Not really. For no one can force you to feel this way, only yourself. Now, I gotta disagree, sorry. Stress, if you are put in a position where you have to work long hours and you're not getting enough rest and there's nothing you can do to control that because, you're taking care of a family member, you're the only one working and you have children to take care of, that's stressful. And stress mounts when you are not getting the breaks. But the thing you have to know is that usually nobody's going to hand them to you. You have to take them before you get to overload, if you can. All right. You have the choice and power to remove yourself from stressful situations or to take them in stride. Give yourself a break from your sober attitude and start to see the funny side of things. Now, there are so many circumstances in life where we can put stress on ourselves by taking things too seriously, So, but the stress is completely self-imposed. I have to heartily disagree with. Let's just keep reading. Humor is infectious. It frees you from feeling restricted by perceived heavy burdens and increases happiness. Lighten up and allow laughter to help you break free from your self-imposed prison. When did you last have a really good belly laugh? If you can't remember, then you need to get out more, have fun with friends, go to a comedy club. Laughing this, you don't even need to go to a club. Get on a streaming platform and search stand-up. Plenty of comedy to be had. Laughing this way is like doing a rigorous workout because laughter triggers endorphins in your body that make you feel fabulous. That is absolutely true. It also strengthens your immune system, inspires hope, connects you to others, and boosts your energy while protecting you from the very damaging effects of stress. Not only that, but you will start to feel better about yourself too, and it will brighten areas in your life that tend to bring you down. Be the cosmic joker, the trickster, and see the humor in all situations. Laughter is positively contagious and is the best remedy for misery, for getting caught up in too many rules and regulations, for perfection, and for banishing your inner critic. You are lacking excitement. That came out from left field. You are lacking excitement. It's time to let go and unleash your inner child. Give yourself permission to be silly, play games, and bring fun and laughter into your life. Now, talking about freeing you from the damaging effects of stress. So anything that happens to you produces stress on the system. And we tend to think of a stressful event as something negative. Somebody gets hurt, you lose a job, bad things. But actually going on a really fabulous vacation is stressful on your system. If you're, going out and just doing lots and lots of physical activity, that stresses your system. So I think part of what she's saying here is that we can choose how to look at that stress, whether we see it as, this is awful and we get too serious, or whether we have a sense of humor about it. So let's look at kindness. Open up your heart and mind. Action taken should be kind. Towards those you see in need, help the aged, the starving, feed. Help the aged, period. The starving, feed. Just one smile upon your face starts to heal the human race. Yes, that is true. When you open your heart to others, a brilliant light shines from you. It touches the soul of the receiver in ways that you could not even imagine. Today, practice kindness. Give a friendly smile to passersby. You may get some strange looks, but don't feel offended. If your smile only reaches one who needs that contact, they can heal. I am saddened these days to see how people turn their backs and look out only for themselves. I can remember when ancient wisdom was adhered to. Your ancestors understood that what you give out to others comes back in kind, so be kind. Give generously without fearing that you will be left with less. The universe sees it all and rewards you. So it just, is a little teaching in kindness. There's not like specifics there. And then authenticity, I'll read the little verse and maybe the first paragraph. With a clean sweep and a tickle of the brush, no longer should you keep hush-hush. From out of the closet take a stance. No need to hide, for now's your chance to live your life, be who you are, stand proudly, and you shall go far. Come on out. You must not hide your true self any longer. It's time to face up to who you really are and to embrace the fact that you are indeed one of a kind. I know the difficulties that you have faced, and it has been an arduous journey indeed. There are only so many times one can endure harsh criticism, judgment, and unfair comments, all because others fear what they do not understand. So remember that these are called Fairy Godmother's message. So she's the one that's speaking to you. And I also want to say here that there are circumstances, unfortunately, that are ratcheting up in the United States and around the world where it may be actually physically dangerous for someone who is not out in terms of sexuality, in terms of gender identity. So this card saying, come on out, I would temper that with your own wisdom if we want to interpret it that way. On the other hand, she's talking about just really being your authentic self and not, taking on the many masks that we wear in order to belong, in order to fit in where we don't truly belong. There's the thing. Fitting in is one thing, belonging is another thing entirely. You belong with people who fire you up, with people who appreciate you, who understand you, who want to know you, who honor and respect you, and who welcome you. You fit in. To fit in, we mold ourselves. Sometimes there certainly are people that you naturally fit in with, and when you belong, when you're where you belong, you also fit in. But generally, fitting in is about not causing waves, you know. It's about just not sticking out, I think. You fit in, you don't stick out. And in that case, many times we can dumb our intelligence down because we don't want to intimidate someone. We can pretend we really like something that we kind of disagree with just in order to, you know, have companionship or not stick out. There are many, many, many ways that we can change who we are or closet who we are in order to fit in. Sometimes that's a positive thing when we just don't want to stand out. We don't want to make waves. It's not our party where, you know, we don't want to take over and be sticky outy. We want to be blendy inny. We want to contribute to the group experience rather than, you know, focusing on the individual. So fitting in isn't always a bad thing. The difference there lies in what we need to do in order to fit in, how long we need to do it for. You know, on one occasion of, you know, I'm going to this party and I better not talk about being a pagan or a witch. Please don't wear your pentagram, you know, something like that, because it's going to upset people and cause arguments and stuff. And maybe it's someone else's birthday party and you don't want to cause that at their celebration. So we remove some things that might cause a fuss and we fit in, right? And then there are other times to let your freak flag fly. So you have to choose what is appropriate for you and how much compromise is required. Now, compromise is always seen as a positive thing, but when you talk about it being compromised, it means that you're no longer like a cohesive whole. Something's gotten, you know, there's a leak somewhere. So I always like to talk about being unapologetic and uncompromising, all right? Or uncompromised, that's it. Don't apologize for who you are. Don't water down who you are in the situations that really count. But again, you have to be the judge of what's appropriate in your life. So, I mean, the key words here, the writing is okay. I didn't really see something that stood out to me as, wow, that's a great message. I mean, there were a couple things, but the grafter thing really threw me for a loop there. I still don't know what that means. So I would say this is kind of a light approach deck, though it does, I want to look at like guilt and shame and see what it says about those two. Guilt is punishment enough. It drowns the heart and makes it tough. Guilt's a bully in all but name, inviting in her sister, shame. Between the two, they'll make you fake, release, say no, and eat some cake. Allow me, dear one, to lift that heavy weight you've been carrying around. You're so consumed with guilt that you're no longer able to function as once you did. The problem with this emotion is that it clouds your judgment and cloaks your outlook. What you once perceived as sunny now appears to you as a big black cloud, and you're blinded to the beauty that shines all around you. Because you're such a sensitive soul, you naturally take on another's feelings. The problem here is that you tend to analyze what you presume to be people's emotional hurts and thoughts, and you end up torturing yourself with worry on their behalf. Wow. This is a little deeper. Maybe you need to heal from these situations that you perceive through guilty eyes. For have you not considered that other people do not think or feel the same way about things as you do? Interesting. I'm going to look up shame here. Regret, dishonor, hangs in shame, points the finger, takes the blame. Shame's a bully you must jilt, who invites her sister, guilt. Between the two, they'll make life sour. Stand tall, move on, reclaim your power. What a horrible situation you find yourself in. You're racked with pain as you reflect upon that which has disgraced you or brought about regret. I, your ever-caring fairy godmother, wish you to understand that despite the dishonor you feel, I see you through the eyes of love. Everyone makes mistakes as they traverse this path called life and gets caught up in traps and pitfalls along the way. So, guilt and shame are a really hot topic, and there's a lot of interplay, you know. If I had to just sort of separate them easily and maybe simplistically, guilt seems to me like an intellectual exercise. Shame is emotional. Shame is spiritual. Guilt says I did something wrong. I'm responsible for doing something wrong. Shame says I am something wrong. There's something terribly wrong with me. Now, I have to say that I experienced terrible shame. I've experienced it more times than I can count, but the dance of shame like hits you at your core. Shame makes me want to run away. Guilt, not so much. I'm thinking of one particular incident where I did something unknowingly that really impacted another person, and some information got shared that wasn't supposed to be or hadn't been. And when I found out what had happened and that it came back to me, it was my fault. My first thing was, no, I didn't do that. And then it was like, oh, yes, I did that. I'm so sorry. And the shame of it was just, something that I just had to deal with on my own. Shame is something, so that shame taught me a big lesson there. It was such a powerful feeling that I really learned this blind spot of mine, and where I just didn't think about someone else before I opened my big fat mouth, you know? So shame can also lead you to healing. It can lead you to, here's something that I wasn't aware of that I really need to be aware of, you know? So shame can be a big course corrector and a big informant for you. I'm sure there are a million other ways that people look at guilt and shame and distinguish the two. That's just my opinion. So anyhow, I think that's that for this deck. It is one, with big, bold keywords, single keywords. I think it's something that you could grab and get a fast message out of. It seems to me that the writing itself, and I don't really remember my opinion of the Dark Goddess deck writing-wise, because it was sort of the artwork that turned me off there. And I don't reach for it for that reason. So I can't really remember what the writing was in that. But this, I didn't feel any like massive revelations. But then again, here, this is a message from your fairy godmother, and not everybody else has been or on this planet as long as I have, So there may be wonderful new messages for you in this deck from your fairy godmother. And if you don't want to use the book, the keywords alone, when I laid those down, bam, 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 it made an awful lot of sense. We need laughter. So what do we need to know as the collective? That we need to keep setting up joyful experiences for ourselves, whether that's watching a movie or being together with friends. Make sure it includes laughter. We need to be kind to people. That opens our hearts and makes us experience life better in the first place, especially if you're feeling like, feeling down and alone and all that kind of stuff. If you can start being kind to people, it's going to shift pretty quick. And authenticity, we need to bring our true selves to the problems at hand. So you can get a fast, good reading. I would say it definitely reads. I would say it's just a matter of personal preference. Sorry, I'm fidgeting, a matter of personal preference, whether you like this deck or not. But I'd like to know what you think. What do you think? Drop me a comment. While you're at it, hit that like button, and if you haven't subscribed, please think about doing that. And there's a wish list down below on Amazon with 1 million decks on it, and if you would like to purchase me a deck from that wish list, I will read for you on my unboxing video, and I will bless you every time I read from that deck. Truly, I will. All right, you guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me. I will see you the next time. Where's my arrow there? I'll see you the next time. Till then, this is Luna. Blessed be.